Good morning, friends. Draft for Upside, first sip, 11 a.m. Sunday morning, game day. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm going to try to Mackinac Maple Island Fudge KBS the crap out of today. Let's just do that.
Drink it until you fall asleep.
That's right. Hey, man, congrats on your Nest quest this week.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well played. I did win $1.50 on that $1, 2:30 in the morning, still up drunk, somehow tweeting you lineup.
Nice.
From the other day. Yes. Very good. A 50% return of my money. Can't complain about that.
Very good.
Plus crowns. Don't forget crowns.
Yeah, and then you get to advance towards your different crown quests or
right.
missions, as they call them.
Never forget the crowns.
Absolutely. I mean, I usually pay for 1 or 2 contests a week in crowns.
Nice. Hey, Mark, how you doing on the Masters, man? Wrapping up today. DJ looked like he might set a scoring record today.
Yeah, last I checked, I was in 40th place in the big tournament. Let's see.
I woke up today and saw, at 10 o'clock today, and saw DJ was on pace to break the Masters scoring record.
Yeah, I've dropped back to 107th now. So we'll see.
All right, best of luck.
I'm in 5,953rd place. That's good for triple my money on my one single lineup, single entry that does have DJ, Brooks, Finau, my boy Kevin Na, Mr. Westwood, and Sung JM.
Nice.
Finau.
Yeah, I am only 40 points out of first, so that's encouraging.
Yeah, Jason Day missing the cut hurt my overall, but I'm in the profit right now. So that's good. That's good. Let's talk football, guys. We've got a nice slate, a split slate. Are you playing any early only, Chris? I see that they've got the 5-game early lineups.
Yeah, I played a good amount of early only. I mean, you have those 2 win games that I think people are a little bit overreacting to. Certainly don't think they're as juicy as they might have been, but I took the opportunity to heavily expose myself both to Houston, Green Bay, a little bit of Cleveland with the Houston, and some Jacksonville on that Green Bay game. And then I have some games that, or some lineups that completely eliminate those games, as I think most people will. But yeah, I mean, I think that those are great places for leverage, especially in the early only where you can, you're probably not investing as much as in your main lineups.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about the weather. Green Bay, I mean, that's what they deal with in Green Bay forever. I mean, Rodgers has played there for approximately 27 years. I think he's got it under control. And I got a lot of Aaron Jones, personally, because of that. But I
think it certainly upgrades some of the running backs in their situations. But, I don't know. I'm not taking advice from Kevin Roth.
Right?
Maybe in baseball season, if the game's going to get canceled, that's all I care about. So.
Yeah, I mean, baseball season is super important. You get that, right field wind, and you take your left-handed power hitters. It's all good. But I'm not worried about Rodgers and Adams, not even a little bit.
No, they had a win game just a week or 2 ago, and Adams caught 4 touchdowns. So.
Yeah, don't let it scare you off you too much. I mean, if you're playing 4 lineups and you had them in 3 out of 4, maybe differentiate one. But I mean, I didn't change anything. I think I've got Adams. I built 20 lineups, and I think I have Adams in. It looks like 11 of them. So.
I mean, that's a good way to go. Hey, Mark, I will tell you that Flora was the starting lineup was announced out pretty. At a good time, you could have got Flora out, but yeah, it wasn't surprising to see that that they went with the other guy. I think it was Kui, just a better player, played more often with the team. I think I even wrote that, but when it comes to these lineups, if they're not out, they're going to be out unless it's the Korean ones. They're kind of like the coaches that like to hide everything until the last minute, but it's one of those things that we've all dealt with in LOL. I can't tell you how many times when I first started. I would go check my lineups and be like, why isn't this guy playing? Oh, he's in every one of my lineups and he's not playing today. Well, okay, cool.
Yeah. Why don't they do late swap with those?
Great question. They really should.
I mean, especially because the one that I got into with you, I didn't realize was what was it, Saturday morning and Sunday morning. Like there can be a lot changing in the 40 hours from when I set that lineup.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was actually. We didn't know who was going to start in the captain or not in the captain, but we knew captain was going to play, and you could have captained him if you wanted to. But we didn't know if it was going to be Forge or Jay. I thought it was going to be Forge, and if you played Forge, you got him at lower ownership, and he crushed, absolutely demolished, even in a loss. And then you had a lot of people that still played Leanne, even though the news came out that he had exploited a bug. It was a silly little exploit just for fun, but he got penalized for it, and so Axe was way lower owned. Even in my head-to-heads, one of the guys played Leanne, and I was like, well, I totally won. He also played the support captain, so I totally won. But anyway,
for sure. Well, I'm just flipping through here. I built 20 lineups. I decided to go ahead and chase that $3 20 max competition with 100K to first. Why not? So basically, it looks like I'm about 55% Aaron Jones and looks like 40% Devontae Adams and about 35% James Conner. Those are my kind of three main guys there. It's kind of how it turned out. I really like Jones, Conner, Edmonds, Sanders. I like the guys at the top. I don't like a lot of guys in the middle. And I like the value guys, Duke Johnson. So that's kind of where I end up sprinkling Mike Davis and Duke Johnson in when I need to save some money.
Yeah, I mean, just be careful with Edmonds. They said that Drake is actually trending towards playing. So,
yeah, he's in a few spots just because I think he's going to be massively underowned, but I don't have a lot of them. I think I have three shares.
Yeah,
three shares.
I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to still play him.
I mean, pretty expensive at this point. Yeah, if he's going to be in a timeshare. If he was by himself, sure. But, when we were playing him, when he was playing alongside Drake and it was a fringe play, he was 40, in the 4,000s up to 5. So now you're getting him at 6,300, and there's no guarantee that he gets any more than half the snaps. I have no interest in him. I mean, unless you can leave that slot open and have some type of plan to pivot off of him if Drake has announced that he's going to play before the 405 star and, take it that way. But that's
yeah. I mean, in any of those circumstances, I can pretty much swap over to Conner.
Yeah, and then, that's fine. You just have to have that plan. He's not worth it. I mean, you could even go to Drake at that point at 4,900 if you think he's going to get a full workload, and I think that's an interesting play that will be significantly underowned. I'm not going to have any of it, but, you could do it.
Yeah, Mark in the chat here is saying he thinks locks for Mike Davis and Duke. He likes the Saints D 3K versus the Niners. I will tell you that is my most owned defense. I have about 70% Saints and about 25% Washington, and I have a couple of Rams spots that I jammed in there because I just needed the savings and I wanted to punt.
Yeah, look, hey, I think Duke Johnson's in a good spot here. There are a lot of I can only isolate myself from Twitter and the community for so long. I didn't want to be poisoned by some of their rhetoric or persuaded with some of their fancy stats that they're going to throw out there. But, 2 notes on these guys. Duke Johnson, somebody said, so we've been fading David Johnson at this price for all year, but now we're going to play Duke Johnson? That doesn't make any sense. And I thought to myself, wow, I've played Duke Johnson or David Johnson every week at this price. So, I guess I have to play Duke Johnson. There's nothing wrong with it. I can feel good about it. Hey, I might as well just continue to donk it. If my process led me there, it led me there. In terms of Mike Davis, though, Mike Davis is completely fadeable in my opinion. Probably not in cash. I don't think you need to go elsewhere in that regard. But look, when he played the Falcons and Arizona and the Chargers and these bad defenses, he lit them up. When they played good defenses, Chicago, New Orleans, didn't do so well, and then didn't do well against Atlanta either. So, I don't know. I don't think he's a smash must play. You've got Curtis Samuel that's a lot healthier than he was in the preseason and there was no preseason, but before the season started, and as the season started, and as he's gotten healthier, he's been more integrated in that offense. He stole some touchdowns from Mike Davis and everybody else there. So I don't hate it in a GPP if you go somewhere else outside of Mike Davis. That being said, at 4,000, even if he returns one of these floor games of 8 points, he hasn't really killed you. So if you need the savings, it's okay. But just you have my permission to not play Mike Davis.
Sometimes when you have a guy like that pop up, depending on the matchup, you start every build with him and just see what you can do. That didn't happen for me this week with Mike Davis. I did my builds, and if I needed the savings and I needed a guy that I knew was going to get 15, 18 touches, then sure, I dropped him in there. But I've got him only at I only have 4 shares of him out of 20 lineups. So that's a lot less than I thought it would be when the week started. But anyways, that's just me. I'm with you. We have a YouTube question. J.D. McKissic or Chase Evans? I mean, we just kind of talked about Chase. We think that for DraftKings, he's too highly priced with Kenyon Drake coming in. I'm still going to play him in a couple of spots, and if Drake ends up being healthy, I could pivot. I like J.D. McKissic. I ended up having 5 shares of him in my 20 lineups, or 3 shares. I'm sorry. I had 3 shares of him, 2 shares of Gibson. So 5 shares total of the Washington backfield. I mean, the Lions just blow against the run. And I think Alex Smith really likes throwing those little dump-off passes to the running back. So I could see McKissic doing very well depending on how the game flow goes. So I'm okay with McKissic, and I think he saves you a lot of money. If you're going to play Chase Evans, just remember what Mark said, or not Mark said. Remember what Chris said, that Drake might be fully healthy and back in, so you might want to pivot off him if that announcement comes.
Yeah, my concern with J.D. McKissic is just really what kind of ceiling does he have, and what kind of contest you're playing him in. This guy had 14 targets last week, didn't run the ball a lot, and he's not going to get a lot through the ground. That's just simply not the way that it's going to be. You're hoping that he can get a lot of those targets and get the yards from those. But you need him to get at least 15 points. If you're looking at him in cash, you need to get a little bit more than that in the GPP. And even with those 14 targets, catching 9 of them, you only did that for 65 yards. So sneeze there. I knew that was coming. I didn't know where it was going to happen, but you almost need to get the end zone at that price. I don't hate it if he's going to facilitate. So some of these guys that are lower priced that just don't have that ceiling that's currently accessible, if they are going to facilitate you being able to get somebody like a Michael Thomas at 7,400 or a Devontae Adams at 9,000 that can reasonably and feasibly get into those 40-point ranges, which is 6x on their salary and a higher price, then yeah, that's what their role is there to do, is facilitate it. If Edmonds is playing by himself, he has the bigger upside. He's definitely the play there. He's also more expensive.
Yeah, he's also $2,000 more expensive.
Exactly. But look, if he's sharing time with Drake, there's also even if Drake is active, you could roll the dice and play Edmonds and just hope that Drake's more of a decoy. There's really no reason for them to play Drake in this scenario. Give him another week.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next question, y'all. We have another question. What about Jarvis Landry in the weather?
I love it. I love Jarvis Landry in the weather. I have a lot of them. When it comes to these weather games, I've already told you I really don't care. Okay, it's eliminating the kickers. We don't play kickers. It's eliminating the deep passes. Who cares? How many of those are there really? Does Big Ben throw deep passes? It doesn't matter for that game. Does Baker Mayfield throw deep passes? He tries, but he can't anyway. It doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything. And Jarvis Landry's not a guy that's going to have a huge average depth of target. If we simply just go back to the last game that they played, Jarvis Landry, while he had a disappointing game, had 11 targets. If you're going to tell me that Jarvis Landry is going to get 11 targets, you're going to tell me that anybody is going to get 11 targets. If they're sub 7,000, I'm there.
In the lineup. Yeah, I like Jarvis Landry. He actually didn't make it in any but one lineup just because of pricing of other guys I liked around him. But I do like him, absolutely. And I like Higgins a lot, too. I think Higgins is in a good spot and at a very deep discount. Was he 4,600?
Yeah.
Yep, I like it. All right, next question. Our buddy Mark, friend of the show. Lockett projects as the 3rd highest owned wide receiver. Thoughts on the whole Ramsey is going to shadow Metcalf, so Lockett will get 1,000 targets that he hears everywhere he looks. I was talking to Mark a little bit before the show, and I was listening to a gentleman on a podcast that was saying that he believes that Ramsey is more likely to cover Lockett and they're more likely to double team Metcalf. So for me, it's a gut feeling. Honestly, I have one lineup with Wilson and any of these wide receivers. I'm actually fading them, and in my best bets, I took the under on this game.
Man, you are feeling bad. You've been drinking heavy.
I know. I've been drinking in the morning already, huh?
So I have taken a stand, and I think I'm just going to stick by it, is that I'm going to take the lower of the two owned if I'm not playing them both. So Metcalf has a little higher price tag. I think he's matchup proof. I think he's crushed in every game except for one, and I'm good with Metcalf. Especially if you're going to get this type of ownership projection difference. Right now, they've got, let's see, where's Lockett? Lockett's at 17%, so he's not the highest on the slate. He's below Allen, Cup, Adams, and Diggs. But Metcalf, you're getting him at a 7% discount, which you're paying for in the salary. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Going back to what we just talked about too about Jarvis Landry, he has a 9 average depth of target, which is similar to Davante Adams. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and then Davante Adams went out and smashed in a win game. So I like that. And just going back, one last thing on that game, Austin Hooper is back. I really like Austin Hooper at 3,900. Guy was just kind of accelerating his way and finding his way into that offense. I think this type of game where the wind is a consideration, but I don't think it's a complete fade, does play into his hands more so than a guy like Rashard Higgins.
Fair. All right. Next question. Is that a breakfast beer? As a matter of fact, it is. It is Kentucky Breakfast Stout. It is a Imperial Bourbon Aged Stout with coffee and maple syrup. So yes, sir. Breakfast beer indeed. Fair. All right. Let's move on to the tight end. I mean, we tend to, I don't know, miss on the tight end a lot on this show. Maybe not completely, but we do tend to hit the defenses pretty well. So let's talk about tight end. Let's talk about defense. I will tell you, I landed on a decent amount of Hollister. I think he's been kind of put back into that Seattle lineup. I think that the Rams defensive backs are excellent, and you might see that Hollister connection that was really, really good in times with Wilson. So I got a lot of Hollister. I got a lot of Akins. And then Engram and Ebron for me. What about you, Mark? Where did you end up on tight ends?
Vast majority is Engram and a sprinkling of TJ Hawkinson. And where I needed to save money, I went back to the good old Logan Thomas.
as Mark says, that's because you pick Logan Thomas every week.
You pick Logan Thomas every week, and you pick tight ends against Detroit. So there you go.
Sure.
Hey, but to answer his other question, if we're going to pick a flex between 5 and 5.5, the two guys, there's 3 that I like, and so I'm going to take all 3 of them. So you guys can't take any of them. And I'm going to, this way we can give them 5 answers. I like Mike Williams, John Brown, Deontay Johnson, and T. Higgins as 4 guys.
Yeah, you took 3 of mine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to throw Duke Johnson in there.
For sure.
Yeah, in that range, I found myself on Deontay Johnson and T. Higgins a lot.
I got a lot of Johnson. I've got a lot of Brown. I've got a lot of Duke. So those are my 3 favorites.
All right. Well, so I guess you're waiting for my tight ends. I do like Hawkinson. I think you can definitely play Waller. He's playable every single week. I mean, there's no it's not a mystery. He's the highest priced guy. Ebron's kind of interesting to me. Gesicki is just a huge GPP dart throw. Wouldn't touch him in cash. Talked about it in my write-up of this game as I kind of like it as a sneaky game stack. Didn't really put him in there, but we're talking about Grant as the wide receiver too. At the beginning of the season, we talked about Gesicki and his role in this offense, where he was essentially the wide receiver too. Now, the problem that Gesicki has had, and I haven't seen every single one of them, but any time that they flip to him on red zone and the ball goes to Gesicki, just dude doesn't catch it. Like sometimes it's not his fault, sometimes it is. I don't know. It's just attractive that he's got that opportunity, but man, dude just needs to catch the ball. Also talked about Austin Hooper, like him there. And then, Logan Thomas for sure, dude. Why wouldn't you play Logan Thomas? He's playing against the Lions. Lions just suck at everything in defense, and they typically don't do well against tight ends. Matthew Stafford, quick note, has never lost to the Washington football team or their previous incarnation, the Washington Redskins.
Interesting. It will be today. Did you know that they are favored for some weird reason? Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, well, because it's Alex Smith and his drop foot, and they're at home. I think they should be favored.
That's my official response. My official response.
Well, I'm glad I didn't round robin your bets today, because I would have been upset with your line of thinking here. I did round robin mine and Mr. Lou, so open for a 5 for 5 for both of us.
Yeah, you don't like my bets today, huh?
I don't like your line of thinking.
You don't like my Rams and the Seahawks under?
No. Let's take the under in the highest total game of the week, and a team that hasn't held anybody under 30 points. And come on.
Yep.
Russ is cooking. There's no running back in there, so
it's going under.
Yeah, if you wanted to tease it like 15 points and put it at 71, even then I would have hesitation.
It's going under.
You're going under.
I mean, I normally I would say look at the scoreboard, Chris, but after I had that week of 0-5, even though I'm in second place in the group, I just don't know if I can say that. Because I had a week I went 0-5. So right after a week I went 5-0, I do believe. So, fate balanced out. That's true. It's a true story. All right. Let's look in the middle. We talk a lot about the high-end guys. We talk a lot about the value guys. Where were you falling kind of right in the middle there? I tended to find a lot of John Brown, a lot of Cooks that kind of sneaked my way in the lineup. I got a lot more Woods and Cup than I normally would because of who they're playing, even though I think it's going to go under.
Yeah, no, I like Woods, Cup. I think we talked a lot about him. There are a couple guys in that mid-range that we haven't talked about that I do like. I like a Tyler Boyd, Robbie Anderson, Juju Smith-Schuster. Guys that I'm kind of avoiding is Mike Evans is in my complete fade list. In fact, I'm actually taking him off so I don't have to look at him.
I don't have a single Tampa Bay receiver in 20 lineups. Not a tight end, not a receiver. I did have one naked Brady lineup, though.
Okay.
I had one Brady Godwin.
The other one that I mentioned was Curtis Samuel. I think Curtis Samuel's in a decent spot. He's been taken away from some of those other guys. If you look at his last couple games, let's see, going back to the Atlanta game, 11, 17, 21, and 30. I mean, he's been involved in the offense. He's been getting targets. And then he gets the couple of rushes, too, which kind of adds to that total. And then found the end zone, 4 times in the last 3 games?
Yeah, my highest owned receiver this week is Christian Kirk.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like Kirk a lot.
His price just keeps being in a spot. It's just hard to ignore. I mean, the guy has upside of high 20s almost every week in scoring, and he continues to be mid to low 5,000s.
Yeah, I like Juju. Him and Ben seem to be syncing up the last couple of games, so he's trending up. I still think Deontay is the best play there, but if you're going this mid-range, Juju's a solid one. Landry, we already talked about, and Kirk. I landed on Kirk quite a bit. When I say quite a bit, like 3 or 4 lineups out of 20.
Yeah, I think I've got him in 8.
So the guy that I'm really looking at here that I'm liking, and I don't even know if I put him in my list yesterday, but Michael Thomas, dude, 7,400. This might be the cheapest that we see Michael Thomas. We saw what Devontae Adams did to San Francisco. Last game he only got 6 targets. Who cares? Did they need to go to Michael Thomas? They were up 40-0 after 5 plays. That's not true, but I mean it was 38-3. But I mean, it's pretty close to it. There's a couple guys around that price point. I mean, if you're afraid of that matchup that Metcalf has, it's really easy to go to Michael Thomas. It's Stephon Diggs is going to be highly owned and justifiably so, but you've also got that Keenan Allen play who's going to be highly owned. And then DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, with a lot of people looking towards Kirk, is Hopkins going to be higher owned? Yeah, actually he is. So I mean, look, Hopkins has that ceiling, but he's up, down, up, down, up, down. So those are not mid-range guys at all. Those are the highest range guys. So,
as much as I like Kirk, I have 1 share of Hopkins, 1 share of Thomas.
I actually have a lot of Thomas. I have 9 or 10 lineups with Thomas in it.
Nice. I like it. All right, we got another question here. Buffalo, Arizona. It looks like the highest total on the board. Over, under there. I think I'm an over there. Buffalo's got 2 cornerbacks, a defensive end, and a safety on the COVID list. I really like this Arizona offense.
Yeah, I love Kyler Murray. I mean, I've been, so the 2 guys that I think I was ahead on was Kyler Murray. That was people knew Kyler Murray was going to be a good fantasy asset this year, but I think I was one of the first people saying that he was going to be this year's Lamar Jackson, and he's basically what Lamar Jackson would be if he was actually a good passer. And that's
we talked starting June when we were starting to talk about football season. You've been on Kyler Murray the whole time.
Yeah, and I mean I was really low on him last year, so I've come around. I like Kyler Murray. I think he's a fantastic play. I love that he's the most expensive quarterback because I think that really changes the dynamic of your lineups. It changes how many people are going to go to him. But the guy is like the running back 12. He's got 585 rushing yards. I believe the 2 starting running backs, Singletary and Edmonds in that game have only 100 more yards combined between the 2 of them than Kyler Murray. So I love pairing him with Kirk, with Hopkins, and on the other side, Diggs. But then, where do you get a little kind of cute? And I think that John Brown is kind of like Deontay Johnson in a lot of ways. I mean, you could almost roll the dice on the injuries. Like if John Brown and Deontay Johnson can stay in a game for the entire game and just be a part of that game and not on the sidelines and not in the blue tent and not in the hospital, both of these guys have the ability to get 10 touches or targets or touches and targets and, get into the end zone. It does take away from guys like Cole Beasley, who I liked last week, and I still like this week with the discount, but those are 2 guys. Well, John Brown is the guy in the game. I like John Brown. I like him. He's good. But here's the other thing. It is a revenge game. It's a revenge game. He used to play for Arizona, if you remember.
That's right. We love our revenge games.
I don't know how salty he is. John Brown seems like a little bit more of a salty person than Andy Reid. And we talked about how Andy Reid wouldn't allow Le'Veon Bell to get his revenge, or maybe he couldn't get it. I feel like it's a different story. I feel like it's a different story here in Buffalo. I think John Brown is going to go for a touchdown from way down.
I like John Brown. Big fan. How about the deep punt plays? Let's talk about guys, under 4,000. We talked about both of it. It was going to be a tipsy pick at the beginning of the week, but he ended up being like the 7th or 8th highest wide receiver in Josh Reynolds, so I had to take him out of the tipsy spot. But I love Josh Reynolds at, what is he at, 37?
Yeah, I like Josh Reynolds, 35.
35, and you've got David Moore down there in the same spot in a game that is going to be a lot of passing, so I like David Moore down there. What else at the absolute bottom end did you find maybe in a GPP lineup here or there? Not a ton of play, but, hey, you wanted to punt a spot. Where did you go?
I think there's a couple spots. Keenan Cole is an interesting spot. If you are going to play into this weather narrative, it means that they're going to have a lot more short intermediate passes. And Keenan Cole is that guy. He's at 3,400. He's shown his ability this year to get into the end zone and be somebody that gets a lot of targets. Different quarterback, so it could be different. Right under him, Jalen Gooten. This guy gets 1 to 2 targets. If he does connect on one of those, it's usually 40, 50 plus, and then it's a touchdown. So, it's a real boom or bust there for him. And then the other 2 guys that are really talked about, I think, are Jakeem Grant, going to be the wide receiver 2 in Miami against the Chargers defense that hasn't stopped anybody in recent memory. And then Chris Conley from that same game with Keenan Cole. got 8 targets last week with that new quarterback regime. So is this a Chris from Jake type of connection?
Yeah, I mean, you think maybe that Jacksonville's going to have to try to throw the ball 50 times to keep up with Green Bay in tiny little passes. So I'm with you there. Guyton, absolutely. Guyton's a guy that I talked about on the Tipsy Pick a few weeks back. Happened to be the week that he caught 2 passes for 79 yards and a touchdown. But if you look at that guy, he almost leads the league in air yard attempts. Every pass they throw him is like 25 to 30 yards. And so all he needs to do is catch one, and he pays off his price. So, yeah, I'm with you there as well. Mark, did you find any love? How about your boy Marvin Hall or Cephas in Detroit with Galladay out?
Nope, I couldn't get there. If I needed to cut salary and head down here, I went with Mike Davis, and a little higher, I went with Cole Beasley.
I can get behind that. All right, we covered
a fair amount actually in my early lineups was going to be Greg Ward. I know that there's a lot more people in that offense now than there have been in weeks past, but the Giants are not a good defense, but there was an expectation that they were going to play a fair amount of zone against this Philadelphia team. And if that's the case, Greg Ward coming out of the slot's going to have kind of some openings that maybe he gets a couple targets and pays off a little salary here for us.
Speaking of that game, we have another question in the chat. He has 4.4 left on DK for a tight end. He's on Goddard now. Should he go up to Ebron? I love Ebron's matchup personally. I would go Ebron over Goddard for me. It's close. It's 6 of one, half dozen the other. I like Ebron.
I'd go Ebron. I like his matchup a little bit better. We kind of know what he's going to be in this offense, and it's not somebody that has a tremendous ceiling, but we're just still not totally sure on what exactly Goddard is going to do. I mean, we've seen what we think he's going to do in week 1, but what's happened since then? There is a gentleman that's a little cheaper than that named Logan Thomas that I think is semi-playable.
Honestly, if you want to save a little money, I mean, I just can't get off of Akins. I think Akins a great play at 2,900.
I honestly think a lot of these tight ends right around this price point are really the same guy.
Yeah,
Ingram, Goder, Gesicki, Ebron, they're all the same guy. I think Ebron's just got a little bit more consistency recently. He has a little bit better matchup, and I mean, even beyond that, I think Evan Ingram's probably the better play if you can find $100 somewhere. Yeah,
Ebron's good too. Dig it. Well, I've covered all the things that I want to cover. Mark, anything else you on your mind this morning?
Let me think.
Let
me bring up ownership here and see if there's anything odd going on. Not a lot of love for Russell Wilson this week. Hey, what do you guys think of Herbert?
Because the Rams are going to shut him down. Go under.
Yeah. What do you guys think of Herbert this week? I
think Keenan Allen has the best matchup on paper on the week. That's what I think.
I think that I'm hurt. Mark, have you read my article?
No.
Well, all the answers to the questions that you have are there.
I know.
3,000 words.
I'm just setting you up for the podcast.
Look, I wrote over 20,000 words this week, and I'm hurt that you didn't read any of them.
I did. I'm just joking.
I read them all. I'm a fanboy.
I'm just joking with you. I'm just trying to set you up.
When I win $100,000 this week, I'm going to dedicate all of it to LOL for the rest of the year.
Well, what I like about Danger is that, everybody says these things about, hey, if I win, I'll give you a cut. Like, Danger physically tried to send me the money when he won before. So, I root for him from that standpoint.
Hey, man, I tried to give you $700. I tried to give you $700. I want to tell everybody in the world.
You send a PayPal request for $10,000, I'm probably hitting accept.
What I'm saying? I mean, I'm just saying. I told you what percentage of my buy-in that you were responsible for with the 10% tip on your advice for something I knew nothing about, and I tried to give you $700, and you said no. So I just want you all to know that this Chris Emmerich, he looks like a badass. He looks like somebody who'd beat up your grandma, but he's got a nice heart. He's got a good heart. He didn't want my $700.
I did tell him they would go back and reinvest it into the contest so that they would fill. So
yeah, and you know what, Chris? Then I lost it all. Of that $700.
You won it first. You won more first. You went on a mini heater.
I did.
Took the money that you won. You tripled, quadrupled it, and then you lost it.
And yeah, well, I mean, I paid off my seasonal league, so that was good. So it wasn't a loss, right?
You're very responsible. You withdrew the money to pay for other things.
That's right. That's right. All right.
But yeah, so going back to this, Herbert is a guy I like. He's in the article. He's in the.
Hey, Chris. Chris, look at the feed real quick.
Oh, I know. I saw it. I see it. The other one is the Russ Wilson, man. I fuck what Danger's saying, man. Like
fade.
Why would you fade him at this type of ownership? You saw what he did in what was a disappointing game last week, and he still got there. DJ Dallas isn't going to take anything from him. You just think that magically this offense that can't do anything but score like 40 points a game is just going to just wilt under the pressure of Sean McVay's Rams?
That's right.
Give me a break.
Fade.
Give me a break.
Fade.
No.
Everybody's like, oh, Aaron Donald. Yeah, okay, great. Aaron Donald's great. Whatever.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Fade.
And DeAndre Swift at 10% owned.
Also fade.
Yeah, I don't see it, but whatever.
All right, guys. A little housekeeping to do here. If you are tired of hearing us talk about DraftKings and you want to go a different route, I highly suggest you check out prizepicks.com. If you do sign up for an account, use the promo code Blueprint. Get 100% of your initial deposit up to $100 in there, and that's a real bonus, man. You can play that $100 on a bet immediately. It's not one of those trickle down economics bonuses that some of the other sites do. Screw that. So the point here is you pick 2, 3, or 4 players in a parlay of sorts, and they give you a projected fantasy stat, which is basically like Yahoo Sports standard PPR scoring, and you choose whether they go over or under. I usually have articles on www.fantasyfootballblueprint.com for the showdowns on Thursday, Sunday, and Monday, so you can look for those. But we have the main slate guys here. Shall we take a look at a couple of them, my friends?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right. First one off the top of the list, one that I love, the over. Aaron Jones, 21 fantasy points. I think he's got a safe floor of about 18 to 20, so I'm going to go over on 21.
I'm taking the over.
Yep.
All right. Dookie, 15.
Under.
Ooh, no, over 15 for me.
No, I don't see Duke Johnson having a good day. I don't see it. I'm going to disagree with y'all.
I'm over.
Over. Mike Davis, 15.5. Sadly, I'm going to go under. I think he gets about 12 to 14.
My gut says under.
I'll go over.
I like it.
Just nice and casual.
How about James Robinson against the worst rush defense in the league, 16.6? Can they keep up enough to keep using the running game? Although he has had 6-7 targets a couple times.
16?
16.6.
I'll go over. He's one of the best running backs that we've ever seen in our lifetimes.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, I think he'll squeak over.
I wish he had the facial hair game that Minshew had, and we could really get behind him more. Kareem Hunt, 13.8. I think that's a discount. I think even if Chubb plays, Kareem Hunt had better games with Chubb in the backfield. I think I'm kind of over 13.8.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with the over there. He's not playable in DFS, in my opinion, at his price, but we're not talking DFS. We're talking prize picks.
That's right. We just have to choose his production, and I think 13.8 is reachable even with Chubb in the lineup. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I'll take the over on that.
I like it. Scary Terry, 17.5.
Oh,
Under. I think that killer Lions defense is going to hold him down. Alex Smith is going to noodle arm it. And, under.
I think he's going to get 16.25.
yeah, I think
projected for too, exactly.
Yeah, I think he's going to be under.
Just barely under, but under.
Yeah.
How about Antonio Brown, 10.5? I tell you, this is a lock under. Start every lineup with Antonio Brown under 10.5. But, of course, that's going to be my answer every time he's in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I got to take the under. He didn't show us anything last week.
That's 4 for 65, or he's getting in the end zone. And there's just so many guys that can get in the end zone in that game. I don't think you can just project a Tampa Bay player to get a touchdown.
I just don't know who Brady's going to throw to. I'm going to go under.
Yeah, Chris likes the over. He's a fool. Let's see. What other interesting ones are on here? Jarvis Landry was the topic earlier. 13.
I'm going to go over.
Yeah, I'll go over.
Yeah, I think that number is really good. I wouldn't probably attack this if I was playing, but if you force me to say, which I am, I would say an over. Alvin Kamara, somebody we have not talked about at all Wednesday or this morning, 19.8 against the San Francisco run defense, which has been pretty good.
I'm going to go over. I think that's way too low of a number for him, even against a good defense.
I agree.
I'm with you. Over. Let's talk a couple more here. Let's just go down a couple more here. Keenan Allen, probably the number one owned wide receiver in DFS this week, 19 points.
Over.
I like over. He's my highest owned wide receiver this week. I'm eating the chalk on Keenan Allen. All right.
I like the over.
What else we got here? All right. Controversial here, buddy. Best mustache in the game, Giovanni Bernard, 13.5.
Under.
Over. 13.6 he's going to get. Tell you about that.
He's going to get 9.6.
All right. How about let's just finish this up. We'll do the last one here. Jerick McKinnon. What do you think about this San Francisco backfield? McKinnon, Hasty. Do you think that Richie James has another week, even though Ayuk is back and Bourne is back? Let's talk a little bit about this game because it's not on the main slate. We haven't really talked about it, and I'm a huge 49ers fan. So let's chat about it. So Jerick McKinnon, 13. They say his tired leg syndrome is over with.
Okay.
I mean, I think under because I think that they don't commit to McKinnon, and he actually loses value with more wide receivers back in the game.
What was
I think the biggest thing is that
13.
And I had mentioned it earlier in the year. It's just been a reoccurring theme that New Orleans defense gets better as the year goes on. Just startlingly. Like we go into every year thinking, New Orleans got this great defense because it was a good defense last year, but then they suck for like 4 weeks. And we're like, oh, what happened? And then all of a sudden they get good again. And it's like nobody's like, oh, well, this happens every fucking year. So they're getting good again. This happens every fucking year. And yeah. Big under for me on Jerick McKinnon. And a reminder, go to prizepicks.com if you want to change it up and get out of playing DFS. I know we even talk about the fatigue around this time in the NFL year of trying to put DFS lineups together. If you want to switch it up, try prizepicks.com. Simply pick over under of projections. You're not playing against lineup optimizers. You're not playing against Chris Emmerich. You're only playing against the house. Make sure you use Blueprint as your promo code to get a 100% deposit bonus on your first deposit up to $100 and enjoy that game. So, yeah, man, I mean, the 49ers, I'm shocked where they are in their division, like actually doing okay with all the injuries. So I'm actually looking up for next year. I wish they'd do something like, trade for Stafford for a single year in the offseason.
I've lost my faith in my Jimmy Grapes. I think literally the only thing that team is missing when the team is healthy is a quarterback. I don't like Jimmy Grapes. I've lost faith in him. I've given up on him. They've got a really nice defense when Sherman gets back and they get some health back. Their wide receivers, I think, are really good when you put them as a core. Kittle is amazing if he would just learn how to go out of bounds instead of taking the giant hit to get an extra half a yard. I mean, he's like Bryce Harper, right? The guy that just catch the ball off the bounce. Don't run full speed into the damn outfield wall. That's Kittle, man. I mean, I love him. He's electric to watch. But how many times have you watched George Kittle take a pass on the sideline, and instead of stepping out of bounds, he lowers his pads and takes a full hit from a safety to get an extra half a yard?
Dude, he reminds me of Jax from Sons of Anarchy.
Right? I think you're right. 100% right. That's amazing. I've never thought about that, but now I'll never get it out of my head.
He fucking walks around with like white Air Force Ones that are always white. Like, he doesn't look like that. He's from Iowa, or like he played in Iowa. I don't know where he's from, but
right.
He's like that, dude.
Him and Bosa coordinate outfits when they go out.
Yeah, and he's probably like my club. It's not my club. He's like my team. I gotta play for my team. Like every other word, yeah, totally.
That's right. Yeah. The Saints at home, 49ers traveling, and have literally nobody left. But I am encouraged by their team. I just hope they go after a quarterback in the offseason. I think get rid of Grapes, let him go. See you later. Move on. All right, I got nothing else, guys. Anything you want to talk about, Chris? Anything coming up with the LLL? I mean, I know we got some screenshots to share. You've been taken down the last 2 nights. Lots of monies.
Yeah, I guess I should play the showdowns more often. I thought they were stupid, and I thought they'd be split city, but took down one for 1,000 2 nights ago. Took one down yesterday. Shared first place with one person, so 1,500 each, 2,500 total. So yeah, it's been nice. The grind of the 15 to 20 hours that I put into writing those articles, over the course of the week, kind of paid off. It didn't at the beginning, so it kind of sucked. But
instead of doing any research at all, I read in a grand total of 5 minutes and doubled my money. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, they've got the quarterfinals coming up, semifinals and finals for this. They don't have the dates announced on them yet, so. When those come out, we'll put the content out. It's free, but they're if you guys want my PayPal, you can always send me tips if you make money like Danger did.
I love it. Let's finish up a couple of comments from the chat room and then get the hell out of here and put the finishing touches on our lineups. Mark says AB is supposedly on a snap count.
Okay.
He says Carson and Hyde are out. Any love for DJ Dallas? I mean, I am starting him in a seasonal league because I have Duke Johnson and frickin' Monty out with concussions, and I left Hines on my bench because I figured one of Monty or Duke is going to play. That didn't work out.
I don't like DJ Dallas. I don't think he's been effective running the ball at all. You're going to need a double touchdown week, and he might not even be able to give you a 1 yard touchdown run. So.
Shut your mouth. I need him in my seasonal league.
Yeah, it's fine in the seasonal league.
All right. Speaking of coordinating outfits, I want to see Carr's stats with or without eyeliner on. Chris, can you pull those up?
I don't think that they have that split in RotoViz, but I will email them, so we'll have it next week.
All right, fair. I love it. I got nothing else. I'm Johnny Danger. For Brewery Mark and Chris Emick, we are Draft for Upside. Please catch our show Wednesday night, anywhere between 7:30 p.m. and 9:30 p.m., depending on the week. We'll see you then. Have a good night.
See ya.